All right. So in this video, I'll give you my thoughts and experiences with dealing with Emiratis. Okay, Emiratis are the citizens of UAE. And I'll tell you the good, bad, and ugly so that, especially if you're a new expat, maybe you'll get some insight. But if you're an experienced one, you can comment and tell me if what I'm saying is true or not, because many people say I'm a hater. And just one thing. Please watch the video at 1.5x speed or 2x because I'll be talking a little slow. It's because I've not eaten food for 8 days. I'm on a water fast. I only drink water. And if you see me stopping and drinking water repeatedly, it's because 8 days I've not eaten anything. Okay, so do excuse me for that. So yeah, watch it at 1.5x speed. It'll be better. Having said that, let's start. Now, see, I've been in UAE for 35 plus years, okay, give and take. And, obviously you interact with Emiratis. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is, by the way, it cannot get any better than this. My mentor, who shaped my thinking, my personality, my business acumen, my self-improvement, is an Emirati. Okay, he is I would say, he's a very spiritual human being, in the sense that very mature. He doesn't go around thumping the Quran and preaching to others. Very mature individual who has traveled the world, multiple accolades of CEO, and has been at many decision-making bodies, and a very sought-after leader. He was the ex-head of the Dubai Police Ambulance Section. So it was an honor. I mean, he didn't convince me of the tattoos, that I did it at my own accord. But whatever self-improvement I know is because of him. So he is an Emirati who touched my life and made me better. On the other side, you have Emiratis where I have bad experiences. The mentee or student who I trained for World Championship in public speaking, I helped her get there. And because I didn't suck up to her and praise her, she made a false claim that I tried to destroy her name. I'd used her permission to take the photographs of her and me holding the trophy when she had won at every level. And when I was not praising her, I never insulted her. And everything was fine. All of a sudden, one day I was called into the police station and said that I'm going to be jailed for life with no trial. Because if an Emirati woman complains against you, you're finished. As an expat, by default, you're finished. They have a rule where they say you are guilty until proven innocent. That's the law against expats. Anyway, managed to get out of it. And then there was, in my younger days, I was a hothead at the age of 30. I honked at a car, which was the typical Nissan. The guy was in the middle of the road and was talking to his friend. I honked and honked and honked. Finally, he said, "What?" and all that. And the usual, I'm local. So I told him I'm international. And I shouldn't have done that. That is my fault. I showed him the middle finger, the fuck off. So I ended up being called by the police station. And they said I was going to be deported. So another fine mess. And they didn't want to listen to my side of the story. Well, obviously it is my fault that I said fuck off, but they didn't look at his fault that he parked in the middle of that road. And anyway. So on one hand you have the good, on one hand you have the bad. But then there is the middle ground where you have to work with them, interact with them. And you can't help but you will have some experience. Like my mother, those days when you wanted to start a business, you had to have a local Emirati as your partner on paper, namesake by default, and you have to give 51%, you have to sign off to him by default. This was especially true in, apart from Dubai, other Emirates. Dubai also was there, but other Emirates quite a lot. So you have to pay them per year, plus only they could go and get the visa work done. Nowadays it is improved and streamlined and online, and you can get it through a PRO. So the local was a PRO. And he would own 51% of your company, your assets, and if there was a dispute, he could take over the company and throw you out. So my mother, when she had a gym, this Emirati guy, every single month used to demand more and more money. Just simply, Jumma, come and ask for money. And best part is he was working for the CID. So I literally gave it out to him. Told him, shame on you for being a Muslim. And he stood up and, oh my God, big drama. So there's a good, there's a bad. Then there's the working part. So I'm here to focus on the working part to help you understand what is the Emirati mentality and what you need to keep in mind. So I've written down on the sheet of paper so I don't miss any points. But you can tell me if I missed out on anything. See, first things first. You need to remember that UAE is their country. It is their country. The laws are meant to support them. The country is run by a king, monarch or sheikh. So obviously he will take care of his people. It's like you having a family, you'll take care of your family members. So by default, they're not doing anything wrong. But the only problem with this model is when you start giving them big salaries, a graduate from the college gets guaranteed salary of $10,000. Just let that sink in. Graduate with no experience, they demand. In fact, they are not happy with 10,000, they want more. They're given free land, although this is debatable because many of them are given free land in areas that are not commercially viable. They go in the far ends of the desert and all that. They get loans, multiple loans. They can take 4-5 personal loans from 4-5 different banks. Personal loans, house loans, auto loans, name it. That is why you'll see one Emirati have a Land Cruiser, Range Rover, Lexus, multiple cars. So fine, that is their country and they can get whatever they want. So no complaints. But the problem here is you're spoiling them. Give money to anybody, you'll spoil them. And what happens is then the sense of entitlement comes in. Now this is one area where they are spoiled and self-entitled. And remember this much, the government, because it wants to nurture talent, especially Dubai, they will pay for their college, they will pay for them studying abroad because they want more MBAs, PhDs. And I'll tell you, the government spares no expense in making sure they get the best education in the world. The top class Emiratis, the creme de la creme, oh, they are like CEO material. Very smart, very dynamic, very intelligent, unbelievable. I have interacted with some of them. They are seriously, I'm telling you, this is not to kiss their ass or anything. They are class apart. They are like someone who has graduated from Harvard. You talk to them, the mannerisms, the look, the behavior, the feel, any female would fall in love with them. They are that amazing. So the men, the ones who do study and do go abroad and do live in US or UK for many years, they come back as fine wine. They are like, you're talking of someone who is born in an aristocratic family, that kind of behavior. But the women are much more in number when they complete their education. It shouldn't be surprising for you to know that the number of women who are having PhDs or masters are much more than the male. Because the males are, typical boys and they want to enjoy life. The females, because they're restricted, they have no other viable outlet other than studies. And which is where you need to understand that, this might sound outdated, but a female cannot do anything without the explicit consent of the father. So young females, even though they nowadays are influenced by social media and want to be modern, without the father's approval, they cannot. And this all stems from the culture, the tradition, the religion, and years of living. They want to carry that heritage of theirs. So no matter how modern a Emirati local is, he will stick by his roots. Okay? And that is where if you mix around with the local, have fun with them, fun in the sense that you enjoy good company and all that, end of the day they'll be loyal to their family. That is why even girls and guys who have fallen in love with Emirati, guys though, I tell them, listen, it's suicide, don't. But for the girl who falls in love with them, I tell them, listen, don't think after you marry them you can continue being a Christian or a Hindu or a non-Muslim. You can't. And don't expect you to live your lifestyle after you marry them. Because, it's a closed-knit family. The only exception to this is locals who marry 4 times. Or in some cases, I don't know how they do it. They marry more. Or maybe it's their girlfriend. Each one, they will give them a separate villa, the rich ones. And each wife will stay in that villa with the other sons and daughters and just be there. And you can't do anything without the written approval and consent of the husband. And yeah, if things go south, it is the Emirati who has the upper hand. So over there, it's not surprising, but this is how it works. By the way, I'll give you a strange example. I had one girlfriend of mine that time. I think she was from Russia or Bulgaria, I'm not too sure. But she was in my 20s. Very, very, very beautiful. 30s. She was the most beautiful woman whom I could see without makeup or without clothes, and she would still be so beautiful. She had told me that she got someone from the ruling family, one of the members. He had proposed to her and promised her to pay her 100,000 dirhams per month as salary. Plus he was ready to buy her a Ferrari, a red one. He took her to the showroom, said choose, and he was ready to give her a villa provided she would marry him. But she being an independent woman, she didn't agree. So just to make you understand how Emiratis are. Now, here's one thing which you will see only if you travel. When they are in UAE, they'll wear their kandura or their burqa, and they'll be very Allah and all that and holy Muslim. The minute they get on an airplane to go for a holiday, the kandura is off, the burqa is off, they'll wear their sexiest outfits, and they become the brash, unfiltered, crazy tourists. You can check in the news. There were many, this was an incident that became public. Many Emirati young men went to UK from Dubai for a holiday. They created a ruckus in UK where the cops got involved. They were riding their expensive Lambos and expensive cars, and they made such a big ruckus, they got featured in the news. The UAE ministry took very severe action against them because they were ruining the name of UAE. So, and Sheikh Mohammed is very particular on the image. I know, even though he has made a couple of mistakes here and there, especially with his interaction with the doping the horses and his very painful and shameful divorce to, what is her name? Queen Rania. Yeah. So, yeah. So, locals, Emiratis, have the responsibility of their country on their shoulders when they go anywhere out. But that doesn't limit only outside. When they are in UAE, they want to make sure everything that they do is, making UAE proud. That is why you'll see influencers like Khalid Al-Amri. He'll only portray the wonderful, humanitarian, loving, perfect side of UAE. He will never even once talk of anything negative of the UAE, and it's obvious. When I was in UAE, you couldn't put anything negative on social media. But having said that, social media is a new phenomenon which has happened in UAE. And many have used it. Some have foolishly misused it and got into trouble with the law. Because the UAE government doesn't allow you to so-called free speech. But that is where you will see a lot of Emirati men and women who are frustrated. They have chosen social media as a weapon to escape, and that is why I have even been shared Emirati women who have OnlyFans account, Emirati men also. They have shared with me, and I've seen. I was like, oh fuck. And you'll get if you Google search, I'll not name them. Many of them who don't actually look anything like an Emirati. They'll have tattoos on their hands, or they'll have piercings, and they will have boyfriends. There's one particular female Emirati who I featured on my channel who had a Italian soft porn model as her boyfriend, and it was a very public thing. Like this Bling series, not Dubai Bling. It was not existent before. So they are flaunting a non-Islamic, non-Emirati kind of culture, Western culture, and trying to say this is Dubai. So that is totally different topic. So social media influencers will post only positive stuff. But you need to understand that end of the day, they are citizens of UAE. They have to live in UAE, so they have to comply with the laws. So they will do whatever it takes to ensure national pride. And you remember that female who I told you, whom I had an issue with, who put this false case. She wanted me to change her script so that she would be not only winning, but she would get an audience with the Sheikh, that is Sheikh Mohammed, because she was living in Dubai. But I knew for a fact it wouldn't happen because she was not a pure breed. She was not a pure local. Half the family was some other part of the Middle East. And by the way, this is one thing very common with Emiratis. Many of them are mixed breed from, maybe their grandparents or whatever, from Iran, or can be from Kuwait. I've met many such locals. They'll be from Saudi or whatever. So it's a mix. So they're not considered pure breeds. But anyway, the citizens are given perks and benefits, but there are a category of Emiratis or citizens who are in no man's land. They're not yet given citizenship, and nobody will talk about this. Another thing about Emiratis which they don't talk, have a look at all the people in positions of power. Look at their photographs. No one is dark, no one is black, no one is deep brown. All are white skin, light skin. They value white skin, or they have this fascination for white skin, white looks. That is why Westerners have always been encouraged to come to UAE. And that is why Westerners get a very high salary. Don't believe me? Just go online and check all the ruling family members, minus the main sheikh. All of them are fair-skinned. And you'll never see anyone with a dark skin be at a position of power. So that also, that pressure is there. Then, then it comes down to working with them. Working with them is an absolute nightmare. That is, if they are your employees. Emiratis, I'm telling you this, what they are capable of and what they actually do is heaven and earth. If they are capable of doing 100%, they will take 1000% salary, but they will deliver 10%. This is not an exaggeration, this is a fact. It is not surprising to see when companies are pressurized to take an Emirati will come to work and seriously, he will have his AirPods, he'll have his phone, he will actually put his legs on top of the table. He'll not give a fuck. He will just do his own thing. And if you try to tell him politely, hey, how is it going? How's the target? Yeah, target, yeah, hey, kali wali, no problem, you'll get. Okay? Okay. You can't touch them because if you do terminate them, which is the worst thing, they'll go to the ministry and complain, and your company will be taken to task. And like I said, you are guilty until proven innocent. And even with all the evidence, you will be made to pay a fine. Your visa approvals will be restricted, and you'll have to compensate this guy until he gets another job. So that is to show you how much power these employees have. So number one is they'll only put 10% of the effort. Number two is they are very self-entitled. They will send any email that they like. They will say whatever they want to say. You have to be careful. So don't get into their bad books, because even if they are at fault, end of the day, when the manager sits with them one-to-one, he'll be very polite, because the manager himself may not want to lose the job. But the only exception to this is if they're working in the government company, then they stick to their lane. They don't act too smart because it's full Emirati. In terms of entitlement, they will expect you to pay them what Emiratis are supposed to get, which is generally maybe 3, 5 to even 10 times more than what an Indian counterpart gets. And they will come to work whenever they like. If office check-in time is 8, they'll come at 10 or 11. And if office leaving time is 6, they will leave at 4, 3. So you can't control that. Then because of the self-entitlement that the government gives them, the problem is this new generation has become too greedy, too lazy. They expect, I don't know. I've even chatted with graduates who are expecting a starting salary of 15 with the total package of remuneration going up to $20,000 per month. This is the main reason why so many Emiratis are unemployed or don't have a job. You'll see, in these fairs, you'll see so many Emiratis unemployed. And if what I'm saying is false, just have a look at every company. How many expats are there? How many Emiratis? My open challenge to you. In every company, check how many expats versus how many Emiratis. There'll only be one out of the whole company. And only because the government is forcing them, people have to take one. Nobody wants to take an Emirati worker because it's a big headache. Try it. My open challenge, if you say I'm a hater, check how many Emiratis are working in each company. It's a nightmare to work with them. And one thing is, they cannot stand being corrected. They are always right. And if you try to correct them, they will correct you. So even if he doesn't know anything, he'll still correct you. Because you don't know him, you don't know as much as him. And they need just an excuse to have a day off or take a break and yes, they do expect bonuses, which is what government companies tend to do, semi-governments. They'll give them 6 months salary as a bonus, and so that's why they are encouraged to spend frivolously, because they know money will come in. Then they definitely, like I told you, the fascination for the white skin. That is why they look down on Indians. You'll just see this when they park at a petrol station in front of a cafeteria. They'll have their 4-wheel drive, Land Cruiser, anything. They'll roll down the window. Their legs will be on top of the seat, which is a typical Emirati way of sitting. And they say, Rafiq, Shuendak, no, Rafiq, chai, karak chai, wala, yalla. And they will give 1 dirham or whatever it is, 2 dirham, take the tea, and they'll drive. So that's how they're so pampered in that way. They love their karak chai, they love their shisha, they love their desert sitting, the fire. So, those are the typical this thing. And whenever there's a national day, oh my goodness, the sense of nationalistic pride, which is common everywhere. They're very proud of their country, very proud of their heritage, and very proud of who they are. Don't be surprised if you work in an MNC, multinational company, less but more in semi-government and premium Emirati companies or the government. You will get Emiratis joining with very high salaries. Even if you're the manager and you get a trainee, most probably the trainee will be getting equal to you or more than you. You'll have a separate HR. All these companies have a separate HR policies, separate HR remuneration. In fact, I spoke in my previous video, they even have maternity leave for 1 year for women because they want to encourage them to have more babies. And I'll tell you, dealing with women, you need to be very careful. If you talk in a way that is not pleasing to Emirati, you can be in serious trouble. They can put a false allegation against you. And because the company would not want any drama, by default, they will say you're at fault. And if the headache or the drama continues, they have only one option, that is to terminate you or transfer you. So just keep that in mind. Emiratis are very powerful. And please, under no circumstance, take them to court. They have their contacts, they have their connections. Even if they don't have, they'll make one. And always remember, Muslim Emirati, Muslim Arab meets another Muslim Arab, they'll say, Assalamu alaikum, and they'll hug each other, and they will Allah and something, they'll say Muslim. I'll give a simple example. My old friend was staying in Ras Al Khaimah. He had stopped his car near a signal. It was going to become red. So when it became red, he stopped. The car behind, it slammed into him. Now by default, this is a fact. If the car behind you slams into you, the car behind is at fault. So when he got out of the car, they inspected the damage. And then he told him, okay, we'll wait for the police. But this guy said, it is your fault. Saying, how is it my fault? I was waiting. He said, no, it is your fault. You have to pay. He said, how it is my fault? I stood in one place. You hit me from behind. The guy's response was, nothing. He said, okay, call police, call police. When the policeman came, he first looked at his car, looked at the other car, and then finally told him, come to the police station. And then at the police station, he told him, you're at fault. And I missed out this detail. When the policeman came, he spoke in Arabic and they kissed each other's nose, and the nose kiss and all that, touching the nose, and they hugged each other. Well, obviously my friend who is an expat does know Arabic and undo all this. When he took him to the police station, he said, Yaki, say, listen, you're at fault. But he tried to logically reason out and say, how can I be at fault? He hit me from behind. You know what was his response? He told him, Yaki, he said, I swear on the Quran. Okay, no Muslim swear on the Quran and will lie. So you're trying to say Quran is, lies, or he tried to corner him with that bullshit. You're trying to say a Muslim is not good man. And my friend was wise enough to know once it crosses over to a religious territory, you're fucked. Because he was Hindu. So he agreed that it was his fault. And that was that. So yeah, keep that in mind. And one final thing I'll tell you. Okay? The last thing. No matter how good or close friends they are with you. I've been close friends with many Emirati locals and some sheikhs. You may not believe this. It doesn't matter to me. Not sheikhs in the sense like Sheikh Mohammed or all that. Member of the ruling family. Maybe very far out. When you're having a good time, they'll be very nice to you. They'll take you out. You can hang out. Has to go nightclubs with them. Has to go for parties with them. They used to take me to VIP places. They used to spend lavish money. They were very gracious. They used to call me to their house to celebrate Eid, Ramadan and all that. I had a good time. But when things go south, which they will eventually, they can be your biggest enemy. They will not spare anything to destroy you. So, like the biblical saying is there, no? Be away from the king. I'm paraphrasing. The more powerful a king is, the more danger it is for you. Because the day he loses his cool, one swish of his sword, and you're finished. That's the same thing with the Emiratis. They have so much power, they can fuck up your life. I'll give you one final example before we conclude. I had this Emirati friend, very close. We are close friends for a long time. Not long time, short time. Say 2 years, 2.5. And, we used to hang out every day and all that. And that time I was dating multiple females. He was also. So I had this one female, Filipina, and I was dating her. We were kind of very close, but then we broke up. And it was an emotional sore spot for me. So this guy was, part of the whole this thing. He used to hang out with us, and I used to hang out with his, as a group. One day, I found out through a common friend that this guy picked up this girl for a date. And they started to make out in the car. He was a bit drunk. And he made out in front of the friends. And that is where the friend told me. And I didn't believe this. I didn't believe this until I saw photographs of them together, hanging out in clubs and being in very intimate, poses. So when I confronted him, what the fuck is this? He said, first he started laughing. Come on, Loy. Loy. They call me Loy. Come on, Loy. You finished with this girl, now it's none of your business. I reminded him, you're my friend, and all that. And when the argument started to go heated, he used the trump card which all Emiratis use. I'm local. He pounded his chest. I'm local. You trying to fuck with me? I'll finish you. I'll fuck you. There I realized, okay, this is not a friend who I'm talking to. This is a Emirati. So in conclusion, what I want to tell you is, see, not all Emiratis are bad. But at the same time, not all Emiratis are good also. This is across Indians, Pakistanis, anyone. But remember, they are a very close community. Very conservative, very nationalistic, very patriotic, and yes, they are pampered. They have a lot of perks and benefits. So just keep that in mind when you're engaging and interacting with them. The best advice I can give you is be a politician when dealing with them. Be diplomatic, keep them at arm's length. Don't be too close. Be very polite, very nice. Mind your own business and be in their good books. And if there's any issue, try to solve it immediately and amicably. And if you can't bear and tolerate what goes on, exit. So I hope these points helped you, and I hope that you find some benefit in what I'm sharing. And if you're, like I said, if you've been in UAE many years, please comment down below and let me know whether what I'm saying is true or false. Because many people will say, "Oh, you're butthurt," or you're regretting you left UAE. So comment and let me know. And if I've forgotten any point, do mention it. Having said that, you guys take care. All right, this is me signing off. Ciao.